In 2015, Caltech astronomers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown announced new research that provided evidence of a giant planet with an unusual, elongated orbit far out in the solar system, based on detailed mathematical modeling and computer simulations. Their data and models suggested that the mysterious planet may have a mass of about 10 times that of the Earth, and it may be the size of Uranus or Neptune. The orbit a whopping 20 times farther than that of Neptune, which orbits 2.8 billion miles away. Planet 9 would take 10,000 to 20,000 years to orbit the Sun. With these estimates, it sounds awfully close to the planet Nibiru and the possibility of the existence of the Anunnaki. Planet 9, or Planet X, is theorized to be present due to some objects being observed in the distant Kuiper Belt. 6 of these smaller objects had unique and odd orbits. Batygin and Brown observed that they seemed to be clustered together and theorized that this may be due to the gravitational influence of a massive planet, hiding somewhere in the outer reaches of the solar system. At least 400 AU away, and Pluto's AU is between 30 and 50 to illustrate just how far this planet would be. Updated estimates about the orbit of this hypothetical planet would take it from 7,400 years to 18,500 years to orbit our Sun. And if you're up on your Nibiru Anunnaki information, you'd know that it was said in these circles that it would take 3,500 years for Nibiru to orbit the Sun. If you're in on the Anunnaki theory, you might be inclined for me to mention that this Planet X has not been observed or officially discovered, so the orbit length may not be accurate. And the more skeptical may be inclined to say, well, it's not even discovered, it's all nonsense, until we can observe it, this is most likely 2 ambitious astronomers cherry-picking data and trying to make a name for themselves. Talk to me when it's discovered. And sure, that can be a reasonable take, but one of the reasons we discovered Neptune and then the outer objects was using essentially the same method. Before our modern telescopes and probes, we had no idea the outer planets existed. It wasn't until 1781 that Uranus was discovered. Before that, we were left with the traditional Earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. It wasn't until 3 astronomers, based on mathematical calculations, predicted the position of Neptune due to the observation of perturbations in the orbit of Uranus. When they had the location, they were able to observe it. Later, we were able to see its moons and rings. So this method has been proven to be successful. And Pluto was also discovered this way. Seeing Neptune and Uranus having odd wobbles in their orbits, they decided to observe areas that they thought a body would be causing this. Taking photographic plates combined with a blink microscope, Pluto was then discovered. So the hypothesizing on the odd orbits of planetary objects seeming to be affected by other bodies is not unfounded and worthy of further research. There are evidence that Planet 9 formed alongside the other planets billions of years ago, and that it passed through long enough to shake things up before disappearing once more. Of course, as this research goes on, it became evident that a lot of mysteries of our solar system, like the massive Oort cloud, may fit with the model of our solar system being born as a binary system. Over 85% of solar systems we have discovered has one or more of these stars in them. And the outer formation of the Oort cloud in our solar system makes a lot more sense if there was another star that was out there at one point, which would lead credence to the Planet 9 being so far out there as well. If the star was pulled out of our solar system long ago, Planet 9 may be drifting out there, shifted in orbit to our current star. Assuming there was once 2 stars in our solar system, separated by about 1500 AU, increases the odds of the pair capturing a Neptunian object like Planet 9 by a factor of 20. A neighboring star passed through and separated the 3 objects. This theory of Planet 9 has had some detractors. Physicist Kevin Napier conducted a meta-analysis of the surveys, and his team found that the object's perturbed orbits could actually be explained without the presence of a nearby planet. It's a big blow to the theory, however, it doesn't rule it out either. More data is needed at this time, and with the Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile going online in 2021, began a 10-year sky survey. It's expected to capture thousands of Kuiper Belt objects, and with this data we may be able to confirm or deny the existence of Planet 9. Okay, that's the science down. Now, what about this planet being Planet Nibiru? Well, we can call it whatever we want. We could call it because the ancients did, but we also don't know what Planet Nibiru was to them. In a sense, they were right. There was more planets than the 7 planetary bodies that could be seen with the naked eye. But did they know about such a distant planet? Well, of course they did, because the Anunnaki were here to tell them, right? The Anunnaki are an incredibly interesting topic, and if you're interested in me doing a video primarily on them, let me know in the comments. They do deserve a full episode. The Anunnaki were gods depicted in the ancient Sumerian texts, and it covers their version of the creation story, how they created humans and were to be our rulers over humanity. They were the offspring of An and his consort, the earth goddess Ki. We can see the similarity to other creation myths, and that also deserves its own video. They were depicted as anthropomorphic and to possess extraordinary powers. They were of tremendous physical size. They were said to wear malum, an ambiguous substance which covered them in terrifying splendor. Malum could also be worn by heroes, kings, giants, and even demons. The effects of humans seeing this malum has had on them is a physical tingling of the flesh. However, the overall multi-civilization spanning myth of the Anunnaki, there appears to be no one unifying account of them. There seems to be differences in city-states and the Babylonian and Assyrian accounts of them, leaving the overall history of these beings a sort of hodgepodge of different stories and lineages. Of course, what most people these days are familiar with is Zecharia Sitchin's claim that the Anunnaki were actually an advanced humanoid extraterrestrial species from the undiscovered planet Nibiru, and that they came to Earth 500,000 years ago to construct a base in order to mine gold to refine and put into Nibiru's atmosphere in order to repair the damage it had incurred. While here, in order to create a race of beings that would be good workers, they spliced the genome of bipedals here with Anunnaki DNA and created humans. They stayed here a long time, and some of them even sided with humans and helped some of them survive the Great Flood, taught them agriculture and writing and construction and civilized laws and orders. Once humans could go on their own, the last of them left back to their home planet Nibiru. Nibiru, which we may be close to discovering? So does that make these tales real? Is it possible that the Anunnaki did come here from Nibiru and create humans through genetic manipulation? Well, maybe. But let's look at it a bit closer. One of the most obvious is that gold is not a rare substance in the universe, and if Planet 9 is Nibiru, it would be much more efficient to get them from all the objects out in the Kuiper Belt than to travel, even if at its closest theoretical orbit to Earth, and then transport it all the way back. Not to mention, if they are on a terrestrial planet, then they too would have gold there. It's highly unlikely that they wouldn't have gold on their rocky planet, and having the technology to fly to Earth, you'd have to assume that they have something like gold on their planet. So the whole reason to come here seems iffy and unlikely. Now, that being said, gold could be a mistranslation, or it could be something put in there to obfuscate why they were really here for some reason. It could be something they told humans they were here for, so that they could relate to the reasoning. There could be a variety of reasons why a technological, superior alien race would come to Earth, and it's not unlikely for them to lie to its inhabitants on why they are there. So the flimsy reasoning is not enough to dismiss, but the reason given is. The most glaring hole in this story, though, is that if Planet 9 exists, or Nibiru, then there is no way for a humanoid species to evolve in any way remotely close to humanoids. not in greater size and density. With the minimal amount of sunlight the planet would receive, no plants could grow on such an icy cold world, and it is impossible for a species like the Anunnaki to thrive there. Now, even if it were possible, the temperature difference between Nibiru and Earth would be akin to us traveling to Mercury to set up shop and walk around the surface like it's nothing. They wouldn't be able to put up with the high temperatures of Earth if they were in fact from an extremely distant planet in our solar system. Now, you could say it's possible that there's another heat source on that planet, extreme volcanism or some sort of internal heating source from their core. Again, so extremely unlikely that the odds stack against that argument. Now, you could argue that they are depicted with a very fine material all over their skin called melon. Could this be an extremely high-tech spacesuit, so fine it clings to the skin of the being and protects them from heat, radiation, and biological factors? Well, in my research, this was the first thing that made me think, yeah, maybe this part is a possibility. Before I discovered this part, I had written it off as complete nonsense, but this idea has also come up in some of the UFO disclosure information, that the grays we see don't have gray skin, that the gray skin is actually a fine material that goes over their skin, so thin and fine it goes on like a skin suit. So I'm not totally writing this part off, with the exception of the reason. If they needed to repair their own atmosphere, why are they able to live and thrive on our atmosphere? I can't write off the idea that some alien race did visit the Earth in our distant past. There's too many old legends and myths to say it didn't happen, for certain. It is possible, and this very thing is why I decided to make this channel. This is what I love, the possibilities of mysteries and trying to uncover them and rediscover mysteries like this. However, I also don't like the uber fantastical and the complete acceptance of some theories when they don't make a lot of sense. In many ways, when we look back at ancient histories, so-called myths, I don't think it's wise to accept them at face value. However, I don't think it's wise to accept them as complete myth. Like in all things in this existence, there's half-truths in all things. There is truth in those myths. There are also fabrications and exaggerations. If we run off on either extremes, we will either miss out on the wisdom and the knowledge they are there to teach us, or we fly off on a fantastical journey of nonsense. I would say, if the Anunnaki were real, or any beings that came to us in our distant past, that is accounted for in every ancient culture, they would have been regarded as gods. I do think it's possible this did happen. I do not believe that humanoids could have evolved on a planet 9 in our solar system, one that would be, if not a gas giant, a frozen rock in space. But they may have come from somewhere else. I think looking to Planet 9 as some sort of confirmation of alien visitation in our history is a fool's errand, and without some sort of evidence showing us that they did in fact visit us in the past, either retrieving undeniable physical evidence or the Anunnaki returning in their ships and telling us they did, then we are still left to wonder. Going off in fantastical realms of the fantastical does not breed awakening and the expansion of minds. Talking about the more crazy parts of things like this only creates a rift, the ones who take the fantastical and run with it, and then the rest of society who now won't even look at a topic without mocking and laughing at it. It, more than anything, shuts down any serious and fun discourse on the subject. And if there is one thing I want to do with this channel, is to change that. Well, now it's time for you to tell me what you think. Are the Anunnaki real? Did they come from Planet 9? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really helps a small channel like this one. And I'll talk to you next time.